Welcome back to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. President William Samoei Ruto is in a dilemma because he is staring at a possibility of becoming the first one-term president in Kenya. It has never happened before. Whether you look at the late President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, who ruled for 24 years cumulative, Kibaki did his term, 2 terms, Uhuru Kenyatta did his 2 terms. But for William Samoei Ruto, he's staring at this possibility. If he's not careful, if a miracle is not going to happen between now and 2027, William Ruto, on a free, fair, and verifiable election, will lose very early in the morning. And this is because, all the leaders from the MCA all the way to the president, those who are serving their first term today, they were elected based on their promises, based on their manifesto, what they promised their electorate that they will implement. Many of them really promised paradise, and based on those, the electorates elected them. For William Ruto, whether that win was doubted, he is now the president and he has been in power for 1.5 years. For the second term, as he will go to present himself for the second time, because already the Kenya Kwanza team has made it very clear that their flag bearer is none other than William Samoei Ruto. For the Azimio, we are still waiting for them to unveil for us their candidate so that they meet head-on with William Samoei Ruto. And for him, this time round, as he campaigns for 2027, he will not be telling people what he wants to do. It will be on account of what he has achieved. It will be his promises against his achievement. And of course, for all the other leaders, as they seek for a second term in office, the people will be asking, based on what you promised, what have you achieved? And that must also come with a certain amount of trust. Because if you told people you will build, for example, dams and bridges and hospitals, and you don't do that, as you come back for a second time, 5 years is enough to build trust, because trust is earned. Someone cannot meet you today and he says that he trusts you. You must work, you must have worked for after some time, and then they scrutinized you and they came to a conclusion that you are either trusted or you are untrustworthy. William Ruto will not be spreading his message alone. There are foot soldiers, mostly members of parliaments and MCAs, senators and all the governors of the UDA, or rather the Kenya Kwanza team. They are the people who will be mandated to spread the gospel that William Ruto befits a second term in office. But do you think William Ruto has earned trust with the people of Kenya, whom stood on public platform and gave heavy promises, lofty promises that he wanted to achieve? Not only did he do that, but he criticized the former regime. And William Ruto told them that Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga were responsible for all our problems. 1.5 years down the line, do you think people still trust William Samoei Ruto? Now, in the just concluded Kenya Kwanza PG meeting in Naivasha, William Ruto showcased a president who has lost touch, not only with the people of Kenya, but the members of parliament who are supposed to be the foot soldiers who will be spreading his message as the man who should be re-elected. As they attended this meeting, they went there, number one, there was no CDF. The CDF money had not been released, despite the fact that William Ruto was telling them that the economy of Kenya is stable and there is money. There was also the question of the housing levy. something that the courts had declared unconstitutional. And everyone expected William Ruto to respect the decision of the court. Nevertheless, this money is still being deducted, and many of the Kenya Kwanza, many of the MPs, including the Kenya Kwanza, are lamenting why the government is still deducting money from their accounts. On the housing levy, William Ruto told them to forget about the levy and they should look at the jobs that are being created. The dictatorship that people have always talked about came clear in that meeting. And then there was the question of the 2,500 jobs that had been promised for our nurses. And William Ruto had a bone to chew with the members of parliament, and he was telling them why they are not helping to avail the nurses to go to Saudi Arabia.
Ati hamjaambiwa? Mnataka kuambiwa na nani? Kwani amsomi gazeti? Na saa ile mimi naongea mnafikiri mimi naongea hewa? What are you? Saa ile mimi naongea nyinyi mnasikianga? Do you understand English or
Of course, that altercation came out as a result of the members of parliament of Kenya Kwanza telling William Ruto, we do not know about the jobs that we are talking about. Where are the jobs? And you see, this video has gone viral and many people have analyzed it. That is why it is something that will continue to grab headlines. And many people are asking just one question. If the members of parliament that belong to William Samoei Ruto are in doubt on what William Ruto is saying, because William Ruto is telling them, when I'm Somi Magazeti, and once the president has said that there are jobs, you should take him at his words because you need to trust the president. And this is why I was telling you that trust is earned. You know, for the first time when they met William Ruto, or when William Ruto was campaigning in 2022, many people gave William Ruto the benefit of doubt. You talk of the Mamambogas and the Boda Boda, Watu Boda Boda, and all these people. Talk of doctors and teachers and women. William Ruto signed a charter with them, promising what he would give them and what he would achieve within the first year in office. Now it is coming out because we've seen the Mamambogas crying out and claiming that William Ruto cheated them. The Boda Boda, Watu Boda Boda, and all these hustlers. Now, the last group whom we did not even imagine would come out to accuse William Ruto of being a liar are the members of parliament who stood and campaigned for William Ruto and convinced Kenyans that the best person who had a remedy to the economic situation that we are going through was William Samoei Ruto. Now they themselves are telling us that they don't even trust Ruto's words. For those who have worked very closely with members of parliament, people are constantly asking them to give them jobs, because when you are close to a member of parliament, you believe that they can fix you somewhere. And so if the members of parliament knew very well that William Ruto had jobs waiting for their people, they wouldn't have waited. In fact, William Ruto said that we needed 2,500. William Ruto would have gotten 10,000. But people don't trust him. You remember the other day, he was telling us that he had agreed with Google, and Google had agreed to take some youth from Kenya to work for them. Just some hours after that announcement, Google announced that they were actually not recruiting, but they were retrenching. They were relieving people of their duty. And that is why I find it very fallacious when William Ruto pretends that he doesn't understand why even the members of parliament are doubting his ability to create for us jobs. You know, the members of parliament are close to the ministers. They can walk into those offices and find out. And I understand that there is a website where people can go. They have been categorized that senior nurses, I don't know, nurses, assistant nurses or something are there and the expected salary. Yet out of 2,500, William Ruto has only received 500. And I wonder why he's reprimanding the members of parliament. These jobs were not meant for the members of parliament, but they were meant for Kenyans. Kenyans are in their need of jobs. If, for example, let me tell you, Domestic workers flock aeroplanes every day to go to Saudi Arabia. What about professionals? Because nurses are professionals, let alone the news that we hear sometimes that domestic workers are being mistreated. You see, workers can never be mistreated. These are professionals. And if they were really, if they didn't have any doubt about William Ruto's promises, they would have applied in their numbers. So William Ruto must understand that people don't trust him, including the members of parliament. Now, if a Kenya Kwanza or a UDA member of parliament does not trust William Ruto, will you trust William Ruto yourself? These are the people who have now worked with William Ruto on a day-to-day basis. They meet. Will you trust him? Because now we are confirming that it has now come from the Mama Mbogas to the closest allies who are the members of parliament. The few who still pretend that they trust William Ruto are the people who are benefiting or had benefited directly from him. People like Kimani Chungwa, people like the deputy president and Ndindi Nyoro. But many people have seen the light. Not only that, William Ruto, that there are people who have decided that they are going to tell him to his face. You see, this is a president. You don't expect members of parliament to throw chairs at him. Just booing him and telling him, no, where are the jobs, is enough, because they were sending a message that, no, we don't trust you. And as I've told you, trust is earned. And you all understand, ladies and gentlemen, that these are the people who must carry the message. They are the people who will help, the prophets of William Ruto, who will be spreading the message, or the disciples of the prophet himself, who will be spreading the message. How will they carry on convincing people that William Ruto is the man to be elected for a second time if they themselves they don't trust him? William Ruto does not obey court orders. They themselves are being deducted the housing levy, and they are wondering why this is happening. And this is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, why I'm telling you that William Ruto's bid or attempt to clinch power for the second time in 2027, that is based on a free and fair election, will not happen. He will be defeated very early in the morning. Some of these members of parliament will ditch Kenya Kwanza. I'm saying this because when William Ruto met these people in their second PG meeting, parliamentary group meeting, they told William Ruto to his face that we are unpopular. And William Ruto told them, you don't have to be popular all the time. You wait for the right time to be popular. The arrogance with which William Ruto is doing this, and people know very well that when they go to the ground and they try defending the housing levy, Kenyans are angry at them and they are being chased. And this is the reason why anytime William Ruto goes for a meeting, for a campaign, there must be heckling. If the people are not heckling him there, they are heckling his lieutenants. Kihika, all the governors, they keep on heckling. And even though they are trying to defend that when you are heckling, then you've been sent by ODM, people have seen it crystal clear that people are tired. The electorate who elected William Ruto are very tired. The hustlers are tired. Mama Mbogas are tired. Members of parliament themselves are now very tired. The church is tired. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I'm telling you that Ruto must work 100 times harder to convince people that we need to elect him for a second time. If he's not careful, then William Ruto is going to be defeated. And I know he's trying to craft things. He will try to capture IEBC. As Raila told us, he would want to make Wafula Chebukati take over from Chief Justice Martha Koome. But if people decide to vote the way they did in 2002 and 2007, it will be a revolution. It will be a vote against, a vote of no confidence against William Ruto, that it will be even very difficult to mess up with it. You know, it is easy when the difference is maybe 200,000 or 500,000. If you look at the gap in 2007 and 2002, you will realize that when people decide that they want to teach you a lesson, you cannot even mess up with it. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think, but for the Kenya Kwanza supporters, do you still trust William Samoei Ruto? If you leave the tribal politics that we play, the party politics, based on his promises, do you think he can come before us and tell us that, you know, This is what I promised and this is what I delivered. Because if you ask me, the Kenya Kwanza regime has failed and they will not have the guts to come to us to elect Ruto for a second time.